Okay, so today we're talking about Captain 2. My bad. Shazam 2. Fury of the Gods. These movies, they're just getting tiresome, especially with the superhero. I think that fatigue,
set in.
It's really set in.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm dreading going to see superhero movies now.
This one's got that extra edge to it though, where it doesn't matter at this point because DC's about to get the reboot of a lifetime.
Right.
So there's zero investment in this.
What am I even contributing?
Although, did they say they're keeping Zachary Levi?
All that I know is the director of this movie said on Twitter, like, oh, if he's gonna get fired or not, people have to go see this.
Oh, they're gonna see how well the movie does first.
Yeah, basically.
I feel like a fraud.
But again, that just adds to the whole frustrating DC strategy.
Yeah.
Oh, James Gunn, oh, I'm rebooting the whole thing, but yet I'm keeping some people, but I'm firing Henry Cavill. Batman, it's not gonna be Ben Affleck anymore. And let's pull Gal Gadot's movie. So, what are they doing? Don't understand.
Right. And at this recording now, we're at the end of its opening weekend. So I think it did like slightly below what it was projected to do.
It did $30 million.
$30 million.
Yeah,
It was projected to do like 35 to 40 or something.
Yeah, it's $150 million budget. And probably gonna have a drop off of at least 60% next weekend.
Yeah, so who knows?
It's not gonna recoup.
Yeah.
It's not looking good.
I only saw the first one once. I remember liking it. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. Considering the source material, I thought they did a decent job with it. I was hoping to get more of that for this one. And this one kind of just took that stuff further, but not in a good way.
It took all the dumb things from the first one and enhanced those things.
Amplified them.
Like, for example, Zachary Levi, when he's Shazam, he's nothing like his child counterpart.
Right, his child counterpart is actually more measured and kind of smarter.
Yeah, more mature.
More mature,
Yeah.
and then when he becomes Shazam, he's just a straight up idiot.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I should be writing all this down.
He's just a goofball.
And that was a critique watching the first one. It wasn't even just me that had that opinion.
Yeah.
A lot of people had that opinion. So you'd think that they would learn
Try
from
to bridge that gap a little better.
Right, but no, they like tripled down on that shit.
Right.
He's like even more of a moron in this one.
No wisdom of Solomon for him in this one, which they love to bring up throughout the film. How dumb he is and how he needs to be like, where's that wisdom?
Yeah.
Of where he can't even pronounce Solomon's name because that's how dumb he is. Okay.
Yeah, and they set up that that's the whole thing. Perhaps that's his character arc in this, is going to gain that wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
That's nowhere to be found in the end.
No.
But so the plot of this one is it kind of ties into the end of the first one when he breaks the staff, and then they have this whole thing about how important this staff is now in the second film. By breaking that staff at the end of the first one, it severed the barrier, I guess, between the human world and the god world.
Yeah.
And now the daughters of Atlas are pissed off because he basically has all their powers.
You are very menacing. I just want you to know that.
Which were bestowed to him in the first film. And now they're super pissed off. They want their powers back. And, justifiably so. They were stolen from them. And they come back to Earth, and they're just looking for these heroes now that are children playing superhero, and they just try to take their powers back, and that's basically the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, like, compared to the first one, where you have Mark Strong, the villain, you have a much more contained danger.
Yeah.
And he has to step up and fight that danger, and then it's not till the end when he gives all his friends superpowers. In this one, the threat is like 10 times bigger.
Yeah.
It becomes a global threat, and you're wondering, like, where are all the other superhumans that exist in this
There is 0%
world?
chance that a conflict like this breaks out. I don't care what city it is in the world. Superman's going to show up.
He's going to show
There's
up.
a 0% chance that he won't show up.
Wonder Woman's going to show. Somebody's going to
Yes,
show up.
Wonder Woman does show up.
She does.
But not till like the very, very
Not
end when it's like pointless.
when it doesn't matter anymore.
Yes.
And she shows up and does something that's like so beyond what
we'll
she
get to
should
that,
be able to
but
do, but
yes,
that's like at the
yeah,
very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we start off now where Billy's almost 18.
Yeah.
He's still living at the foster home. You got all the other kids. They're all a little older now.
Yeah.
and he's kind of the appointed leader of this group.
Yeah.
His like superhero family, and he feels overwhelmed. So the biggest conflict he has in his life right now is potentially aging out of his foster home, not knowing whether his foster parents are gonna want to keep him, essentially.
Yeah.
And then the conflict he has with his best friend, Freddie, who loves being a superhero and wants to go out on his own and just do that. And that's Adam Brody plays him as an adult, and Adam Brody's pretty good.
It was good
in that role.
There needed to be more of him.
Yeah. Now these kids,
Yeah,
they're
like-
pretty terrible.
They're fucking awful. I don't care. I will make fun of a kid actor when they suck. I have zero
and we've
remorse for
praised
that.
good kid actors in the past.
Sure, every single
But
one of these
these
kids
kids
sucked.
They sucked.
Yeah, all of them.
They're so annoying,
Yes.
especially Freddie. And Billy's like, I guess the most tolerable.
He's barely.
But he's
in it,
barely
though.
in the movie.
Yeah, in the first one, it was mostly the kid.
It's a
and then
lot
he turned
of him.
into
Yeah.
he turned into Shazam.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's I don't know 80% Zachary Levi,
Yeah.
and then for the rest of the time he's just the kid, and it's just like the kid shows up for a couple days, and it's just like, oh cool, I have a job, thank you, and does a couple lines, and that's it. His presence really wasn't there.
Yeah.
That being said, though, when he does become the kid again, you definitely feel the disconnect between the two characters, like we were talking about.
Right, right. So he's dealing with all that, his family.
Family!
And then that's when Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu show up. Lucy Liu, by the way, interesting Greek god, Asian, okay. You know, just a little observation. Just
What a weird casting choice.
It was a weird casting choice.
Yeah.
Like Helen Mirren, I get, like,
She embodies like
Yes.
the old, like an old
Yeah.
goddess or something.
right,
Lucy
made
Liu?
me think of like going back to the old 60s, like
Yeah,
Jason and the Argonauts,
Yes.
or, you know, those types of movies.
yeah.
So they come back and they get their hands on that staff. They force the wizard to like reform the staff.
Oh yeah, the wizard's back in this.
Oh, yeah, he's back, even though he turned to dust, but whatever. Now, this is where it gets kind of weird plot-wise, because they get the staff repaired, and now they have this powerful staff. It's like, it's hard to tell what this staff can and can't do.
Yeah.
So they come back to Earth now. They find Freddy as a superhero, and they take his powers away with the staff.
The staff has the ability to take away
powers,
their
right.
powers. Yeah.
All of the other heroes, the other 5 of them, come to the school, but then they kidnap Freddy and then just endome Philadelphia with this force field. And then after they go back to the God Realm, they're like, okay, we have to find out the identities of these kids. It's like, but they were there, like they were coming to you. Like, why do you need to like find out their identities? Like, I didn't understand why any of that was happening.
Just contrivance. There was no point to it.
Right. It's like, well, have your confrontation. You're here. Instead, you kidnap Freddy and take him away, and then you like torture him to tell you the identities of the superheroes
Right,
who
they're
you
all
were
right-
literally face to face with,
they're
and
all
you
right
could have
there,
like
yeah.
shot and
Yeah.
turned back to human. Like,
Yeah, but they were good at dodgeball, so they can dodge the staff electricity.
Even though like there were tons of times where they're like, oh no, they all have the speed of Mercury, yet they're all getting hit with these beams from this staff that they can't just dodge.
Well, they had to because you can't have that many superheroes in the movie because then
Exactly.
the villain's threat would not be as
Right.
strong.
And that it does feel excessive having like 6 Shazams running around.
Yeah, it does, and that's like sort of at the end of the first one. I thought, well, if they make a second one, I feel like this is going to sort of be a pigeonhole somewhat because now you're going to have all
and it kind of is.
Yeah,
you
it
have
is.
to address it now that they all have powers. Like they should have just been granted powers for the end of the first film.
Yeah.
And okay, we're done with that. And then
Well,
we're
I don't
coming
know. I
into
mean,
this.
like, because then you have that bullshit sequelitis thing where it's like, well, at the end of the first one they had powers. Why don't they have it in this one? So I kind of did appreciate the fact that like they did continue
Well,
off where they left
he
off.
breaks
but-
that staff at the end of the first one. That could have just like
Oh, that's true.
turned them all back, except him because he's
That's
like the
true.
chosen or whatever. They could have done something with that. It just felt like now that they all have powers, there's just so much going on. And he sends a letter via Steve the Pen to Helen Mirren's character to come meet so we can make an exchange. He gets them to come and meet him, and then they have that little scuffle. Helen Mirren basically gets caught because she wants to get caught.
Yeah, so we're doing
They do that trope again.
Yeah, we're doing the 2008 villain wanting to get caught.
Yeah, we're doing the
trope
Loki
once
trope.
again.
We're doing, it's all the same. And then she gets brought to their lair, which is the Rock of Eternity location, where there's like a hidden apple. And this is the apple that apparently will, if they plant it in the God realm, it'll regrow the tree of life and bring all that back. And that's what Helen Mirren wants to do. But then Lucy Liu is so pissed off, she wants to plant the apple on Earth, which would essentially destroy Earth. And then all the mythical creatures come out, the Minotaur. That whole sequence with the unicorns was ridiculous.
Yeah, the unicorns become good because the little girl gives them Skittles.
Yeah, right. Same as Ambrosia.
Right.
Same thing. For the last 30 minutes of the movie, people are kind of just bouncing around different locations. You don't really know where anyone's trying to go. They're not really engaging the villains in a way that makes sense.
It'll also leave them, and then it leaves them for like a long time, and then it comes back, and you're like, oh yeah, they're doing that. I forgot.
Oh yeah.
See, that's the
It's just
problem.
like a
with this,
chore.
that's the problem with this movie as a whole. It is just so painfully mediocre.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's just dull.
It is.
Like I was trying to, and we talked about this a little bit, but you know, comparing this to, I think a good comparison point is Black Adam.
Yeah.
Black Adam's also very mediocre, but I'd rather watch that.
I'd
than
rather
this
watch
movie.
that because at least that felt a little more competent in that. Like the characters felt a little more competent.
Yeah.
This, like every character's just making these stupid mistakes and then they're paying for those mistakes. And then they have to figure out how to fix those mistakes. And it's just like...
Or they're just stupid at that point because the script needs them to be stupid. And then as soon as it needs them to wise up, then they do
wise up
because of the script.
It's
there's really no...
It's very lazy.
There's just no character growth.
Right.
No proper
I mean,
character growth.
the most character growth you probably get is Freddy, actually. I mean...
Yeah.
Maybe he grows a backbone, but that's more just...
He
because
sort
of
of
the
already
events of the first film where he becomes Adam Brody.
He kind of already
He
has
just has a
backbone.
spine now.
Yeah.
You know, he's just confident. He goes after the girl who turns out to be one of the sisters. And he just shows a willpower that shows that he's brave, you know, even though he doesn't have his powers anymore. It's like, okay. So he kind of gets more of a character arc in a way than Billy. Because what does Billy really, how does Billy really grow in the end?
Yeah.
He realizes that he loves his family. I mean, he already did. Like,
I think the entire time I was watching it, I kept thinking to myself, I don't know if this is a case of, am I not the audience for these movies anymore? Or are these movies just bad now? I don't know. I can't.
it's hard to tell who this movie's catering to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to imagine if I were a kid again and I were to see this, would I like it? I don't think that I would.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
There's a moment towards the beginning, Billy's wearing a Goonies t-shirt. And it reminded me of the Goonies when these kids go out on this adventure and you see how each of them contribute and react.
Yes.
And when they make mistakes, they make realistic mistakes. And when they have to come through, they come through. This, it's like everyone's just acting so stupid. And you're like, no, you're making mistakes just because it serves the plot for you to make a mistake here.
Right.
But would the character actually make this mistake? Are they this stupid? Or are they actually smart, but they're just faltering for this moment because they're actually a kid? It didn't feel cohesive like that.
Well, when you watch The Goonies, each one of the characters has like very
defined roles,
like strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And when they fuck up, it's very clearly because of one of the characters' weaknesses.
Yes.
And that's what makes it funny. And then like it's how they all sort of react to that mistake and like fix it using the other character's strengths.
Yeah.
They complement each other. In this one, it's not defined at all. They're just, like you said, stupid.
Yeah.
So you're watching it
and
you're
it's
just
like, who's going to be stupid this time?
Yeah.
And who's going to be smart this time?
Yeah.
So then, you get the climax of the film where he realizes the staff can be overloaded like a battery, and he just uses that to basically destroy Lucy Liu and the dragon and the fucked up tree. Yeah, okay, so I guess he kind of uses a little smarts there, barely, and then just uses brute lightning strength to destroy everything in the process. Sacrificing himself, I guess, makes him brave, yes. But he already is brave.
Yeah, that wasn't the problem. The problem was wisdom. And
the problem was the lack of wisdom, which they keep pointing out.
Yes.
And does he gain any of that wisdom in the end? The wisdom he should already have, also? Not really.
No. A big part of his character, too, is what you were saying earlier about him growing up and like growing out of his foster home, potentially, and him trying to hold on to his friends. He clearly has some abandonment issues.
Yeah.
And that's what the movie's about. And like you could have made that interesting.
His mom and his dad.
Yeah, everyone.
him.
He feels like everyone in his life leaves him.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's interesting as a character. But again, none of that stuff really pays off. Sure, at the end he says, I can't be doing this with you guys anymore. Like, I gotta let you guys just let you do your own thing.
Yes.
He just says all that stuff,
his
but it's not.
Parents.
You don't get the sense that he's like really learning those things. Though,
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, like when he's trapped in the dome right at the end, and he's having that little heart-to-heart with Freddy.
The Spock and Kirk moment.
I actually thought that moment was decent.
It might be the only genuine moment.
The only
whole
genuine
movie.
emotional moment. I was like, oh shit, yeah, like he's going off to die here. He's gonna go do the thing. And you get the foster parents, you know, right before he goes off, they're like, oh, we'll always love you. Like, just because you age out doesn't mean anything. Just because the checks stop coming, you know, we'll still love you. And yeah, sure. Like, I guess he needed to hear that. He gets over that abandonment issue. I guess that's his growth. But still, how does that aid him in his journey in being a superhero? I mean,
Again, it's like a good idea for character growth. At the end of the movie, when he realizes it and like changes, that's fine. But the way it's handled, it's just so half-assed. It's not done at a decent progression.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like, oh, we need to wrap up his character arc right here. Dialogue.
Right, they wrap it up, and then he doesn't necessarily like team up with his family to stop the threat in the end.
Family!
He does it by himself.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, he kind of gets over those abandonment issues and realizes, oh yeah, the family, we all love each other and we're important to each other, but no, I got to do this one by myself.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And then they kill him, which is cool if they had committed.
Might as well.
Why
didn't they commit?
Why
They're not
not
going to make another one.
Right? Is there another Shazam movie coming that we don't know about? And of course, they bury him at the base of what will be the new Tree of Life once Wonder Woman just comes back and she's like, oh, hey guys, sorry I was busy the whole movie. She just like touches the staff and all of a sudden everything comes back to life.
Yeah, because according to Jamon Hinsu, the spark of a god can make the staff whole once again.
So the staff was repaired, right? Helen Mirren, she had the staff in that exact place repaired. So why couldn't she do that? Did they ever say like why she couldn't do exactly what Wonder Woman did?
I don't know.
Because that seemed kind of stupid.
That is stupid. I didn't even think about that. That's fucking
Maybe I missed something. She had the staff, and then they did this whole thing with the apple, right? Like they had to plant this apple. Now, once that apple was planted on Earth and that tree was destroyed, I'm pretty sure you don't see that apple again.
No, it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what the hell did Wonder Woman do that Helen Mirren couldn't to bring everything back to life in the God realm? I thought that was the purpose of the apple. They were going to plant the apple there. It was going to make the Tree of Life come back.
I feel like
did we miss something?
I feel like Wonder Woman and them are pretty much on even playing field because they're both descendants from gods.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, that's good. That's a good question.
Because the staff was like, oh, the staff's out of power. There's no more gods left. And then Wonder Woman's like, shows up with her theme music, brings the power of the staff back. Everything just comes back to life. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, why couldn't Helen Mirren do that? Yeah.
Just thinking about.
Please let us know in the comments what we missed there because
that's very
I'd love to be
exhausting to think
educated on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just threw a truck at a dragon. I love my life.
Ratings wise, I think I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. Again, there were things I liked about it. It wasn't horrible. There were just some dull moments. Some moments where the comedy just didn't hit right. So yeah, I mean, I guess I got to come in under. I'd rather watch Black Adam than this, and I'd rather watch the first Shazam than this one.
I think I'm also going to give it a 5.
Once again,
I was thinking about 4.5, but I think below a 5 is a little too harsh.
I think it's too harsh. Yeah.
Because again, it's really not the worst thing in the world.
No.
But it's not something that you need to go out in movies and see. You don't need to pay to go see it.
5 is average.
But again, wasn't necessarily bored, but it's just, you're watching it and you're like, this is so fucking mediocre.
Yeah.
I also think a big problem with it is that it feels very manufactured, like a studio product.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. There's really nothing to this to separate it from your standard superhero fare.
Now, on the woke side, there was some stuff.
There was some stuff.
There was some annoying stuff. Things that could have been masked a little better, but they don't mask things anymore.
They don't have to. They don't give a shit.
They don't give a shit. It's just right in your face. The movie stops so we can tell you what a piece of shit you are unless you have these thoughts. And then back to the story.
How stupid you are if you're a guy or if you're a boy, you're stupid.
Yeah, which is like, what we got with Ant-Man 3. Same
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yep.
And it starts right in the beginning when the kids are all hanging out and Pedro's like, oh yeah, we're gonna watch the baseball game. And then he's got the magazine and he's
looking at some guy going,
he's looking at the dude, the ball player, and he's like, oh, and you're like, okay, so
Gay.
we're gonna have the coming out story at some point. And that culminates in just such a horrible way to do it. They're all literally running away from a dragon, and they come back into the house. Half of them are like in superhero form. The other
All
half
of
are
them
the
are
kids.
except for the gay kid.
And
Freddie. You're right.
and Freddie. They burst into the parents' room, and the parents are like, "Oh my God, who are you? Like, get out of our room!" You know, they don't know what to make of it. And then they're all at the same time like, "Okay, well, we got to tell you something."
Yeah, they all come out.
As their superhero alternative selves.
Yeah.
And as they're all saying it, like, "We're actually superheroes," Pedro's like, "Oh, I'm pretty gay," and everyone kind of just like in this moment of peril where they're stopped here just for a moment because a dragon's about to burst through the house. They all stop to have a moment like, "Oh yeah, we know, buddy, it's okay." And then the mom is like the same way, like,
No.
"Oh, of course we know."
There is never a dull moment to virtue signal.
No.
And so anytime you can do that, they take that. And what happens is I'm gay, and they all just like
They all
go from
embrace him and
panic. They go
accept
from
him.
panic to looking like one of those fucking moms in one of those like commercials where the kid spills something and like the mom wipes it with a paper towel. She goes,
We already knew.
We already knew.
We already knew that.
And it's like we're so loving and accepting.
They have
of
this
it.
loving moment, and then they're like, "Okay, but we got to go." And then the dragon comes, and it's like it's a cheapening of that moment. Even if you want to make that moment important, it still cheapens it. Like it made me think of X-Men 2, when Iceman came out to his parents as a mutant.
Yeah.
So they did it. They worked it into the story as a metaphor, and they actually had an emotional moment where he struggled to come out to his parents as a mutant, and then his parents are like, "Oh, can you try not being a mutant?" You know, they go through that whole thing, and then he goes to live at the Xavier mansion.
I know that Iceman's not gay in X-Men 2 when he's coming out, but that's the way you handle
right.
a
That's
scene
how
like
you,
that.
you. That's called subtext.
Yes.
You work it into your story and create the metaphor that way, and then you can make the connection. It's just everything is just so on the nose now with this shit. There's just the stop, turn to the camera, virtue signal.
Yeah.
And then back to your story.
The biggest thing though is all the girls are smarter than the boys.
Yes.
And they make it a fucking point to tell you that all the guys are just fucking morons. Not only by them literally saying that pretty much, but also the guys are just like and then
like when Pedro tries to make some Hot Pockets, he literally just takes the whole box and throws it in the microwave. Like, what are you, 4 years old? That's what a 4-year-old would do. Not like a 15, 16-year-old.
all the girls are just sitting there like looking at them like,
Oh yeah, Mary Sue over here is reading her organic chemistry
Oh, yeah,
book.
yeah, of course.
She's
of
like,
course.
this is what I do for fun.
Yeah, this is what I read organic chemistry, you fucking you stupid piece of shit. You're
And
such
they-
a moron.
and they
I'm
make
reading
Billy
this book.
so dumb. Like he doesn't know how to pronounce Solomon. He's almost 18 years old. He's not like 4 years old.
And the girls are just like,
Yeah, even the little 8-year-old girl is just like, and she's acting like so silly the whole time. But when it matters, she's like smarter than all of them.
yeah.
And speaking of her, the little girl, when she's like separating all the Skittles, and they have Helen Mirren locked up.
Oh yeah, when Helen Mirren does her whole like I want to get caught thing, she's in the little jail that they throw her in.
Yeah.
The little girl is separating all the Skittles colors, and then she's gonna bring her a bowl of
the yellow
Skittles.
ones, yes.
Because and then what does she say?
Oh, gods have human rights too. As she's bringing the bowl.
I believe that everyone should have human rights or some shit. She brings her a fucking bowl of
It's
Skittles.
very apparent. Like no 8-year-old would say that. What 8-year-old would ever say that?
Well, the wise young black girl would say that, of course.
It's just so stupid.
I don't think a writer from 10 years ago would even attempt to write a stupid line like that. They might think that, like in the first draft, and then right after the line comes out, they delete and go, that's stupid.
No, they'd be like, I'm gonna take her this food because, she's probably hungry too.
Yeah.
You kind of get the same point across without just being so on the nose about it.
Yeah. It wasn't as bad as Hank Pym saying, oh, socialism is a charged word. But it was still up there.
All right, so rainbow scale.
3.
Damn. That's what I was gonna say. Man, we were like lock and step on this one.
Yeah.
3. Yeah, I'm a 3 too.
Could have been worse.
Could have been worse.
At the same time, definitely there's a presence of social engineering going on in this movie.
Yeah, the movie was just not good enough to, I guess, get the box office return that they were hoping for. But this might be the last we see of Captain Shazam.
I'm very sad.
Very sad.